How do you know?
The red light in the top left corner is flashing.
I can't see it flashing. Cool.
It's on. So, this is Japan James, and we're joined today by Australian Matt, who is a bilingual Japan expert who is currently underway on the Shikoku Henro 88 Temple pilgrimage. How are you today, Matt?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing excellent. Yeah, we just finished up our Zazen session.
Yeah, so I actually know how you're doing already. Well.
We've been together for, 1 month now, coming to
Being together.
Zazen. So, Matt, tell me a little bit about your pilgrimage so far.
Well, I've stopped the pilgrimage, really, unfortunately. Well, I'll continue next year or the year after, whenever I've got money. I went to the first 23 out of the 88. So I haven't left Tokushima Prefecture yet. We're near the edge of Tokushima Prefecture. Been mostly countryside for the whole time. Each town more charming than the next, generally. Than the last. Unspeakable charm and quaintness in so many places.
And how did you end up here in Jomonji Temple specifically?
I was recommended to stop here by a friend because you can do zazen here, do meditation, and I just so happened to be very injured at that time. Maybe not injured, but in excruciating pain. I couldn't walk anymore. So I stopped here just to meditate, and that's the first time we met. And then the head priest, Koya-san, saved my life by saying, just stay here instead of leaving, because I was going to leave that day. And I kept waking up over and over again, thinking to myself, yep, I'm going to leave today. This is going to be the day. I'm going to keep walking. And then I just kept stewing in convalescence while I was here.
And this is typically the, Zetsubo section of the Henro, right? One of the sections where people typically experience a lot of pain and suffering, right?
They call it the Korogashi, Henro Korogashi, which is like the bits where the Henro fall down. They're generally mountain walks. And this one, I think, is just because of the great stretch of coastline, most of which I did on train because my leg was imploding at the time.
It's about 80 kilometers between 23 and 24?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember exactly.
All highway.
Or there's something moving in the bushes.
Oh, what kind of...
There was monkeys going crazy right near the house the other week.
Don't steal my camera over there.
Oh, yeah, they might do.
Oh, they would love to get their hands on that.
No, there's nothing.
It'd be great footage.
It's probably centipede or something.
So yeah, I met Matt about, I think it's been 4 or 5...
It was a month ago.
1 month ago, yeah. And so there's a couple reasons that you can't continue the pilgrimage. Of course, right now we've got the 2019 COVID-19 coronavirus epidemic going on worldwide, which has put a big damper on your future travels.
On everyone's future and current travels, yeah. It's madness. That's the reason why I'm not walking right now. My leg's fine now. It still hurts a bit, but I could continue walking. But I don't want to make all those lovely grannies in the mountains sick by getting coughed on in a konbini and then getting handed a mikan or whatever and handing them back an osamafuda, which is like a karma token or something.
Some osetai.
Yeah, whenever you get an osetai, you hand them... It's essentially like a karma token, I guess. You write your name on it, where you're from. Some people write their wishes on it, and you hand it back to them. So you handing one of them out to every nice person that you meet. That's a lot of Corona.
Mm.
There's plenty to go around at the moment, seemingly too. So, yeah, I don't want to think about that. So, best to stay put, hide from it.
So, you've been here 1 month. Tell me about your monk life, your new Jomanji. I know you've been helping out a lot around the grounds and, keeping the kids occupied with all their energy.
Yeah, abundant energy. Yesterday, or the day before, me and Tech Guy, the young monk, we made a row, I don't know what it's called, of dirt ready for planting.
Okay, so little planters in the ground with just
It's
dirt.
like a row of dirt. I can't remember what it's called.
Like a trench?
Yeah, it's like 2 trenches on the side with dirt piled up in the middle. Soil piled up in the middle to plant stuff in.
What are you guys going to put in there?
Don't know yet. He's going to decide. He's going to get some rare seeds off the internet apparently. Which is cool as shit. He was picking flowers and weeds and stuff that he put into fried rice the other day, which was cool as.
Wow.
One of them's meant to, like, I don't know what the word is, open your chakras or enhance your chakras or something. That was cool.
Do your chakras feel enhanced?
I don't know. I've never experienced a chakra awakening, so I have very, very undeveloped sensibilities as far as chakra flows go. What else do we do? Cut some grass. This kind of grass. That long grass over there. You might
The
be able to
long-
see it. And right next to you there.
This one.
Yeah.
The green and the brown one.
Cut a bunch of that up. Because the hot water system is wood fire,
Right.
grass fire.
Kindling, right?
Yeah, so it's collection for that.
So Matt has been living in the spare house next to the... What is that next to you?
It's like common house for monks, and where they have visitors and stuff like that. I've only really been using the kitchen, and then one other common room, and then a really rad tea room that they've got, which is really good, really nice. There's a statue in the hallway. It's carved from driftwood. Maybe not carved from driftwood, but it apparently washed up on the shore somewhere, and someone found it and called up the temple and was like, I found this awesome statue of the Buddha just washed up on shore. Do you want it? And they took it. So it's some immaculately carved mystery Buddha statue from the ocean.
It washed up already, Buddha?
Yeah, it was carved, and I guess someone piffed it in the sea, and then it washed up.
Or it was on the shore and the typhoon took it from somewhere
Yeah, that's cool. It's definitely... Sorry.
else. No worries. Matt likes, he's got a green thumb. He likes playing with plants, and he's playing with them close to the recorder there. Sorry about the stick sounds you might be hearing.
Just a sample.
So yeah, it's a Zen temple here, Jomanji.
Yeah.
Is it part of the Henro?
Nah, it's not.
But the
It's near
Moss
it.
temple nearby
Yeah.
is part of the Henro.
No, it's not.
No.
This and that Moss temple were recommended. The person that told me about it, she's like a hotshot aficionado of the Henro Trail. It's her job, I'm pretty sure. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe she's like a tourism representative or something. But she recommends this to people who have extra time. And because I was injured, I was like, I'll only do like 5 kilometers a day or 3 kilometers a day or whatever. So I had spare time. Came here. Not that moss temple is also. You should film that.
I'll be sure to go there.
One of your next videos. Monkey poo.
There's quite a bit of monkey poo around back here. We've got some on film already, so I'll be
There's
sure
some
to
right here.
show you that.
It.
Literally centimeters away from Matt's injured leg is monkey poo. So this is a Zen temple. Let's talk a little bit about Zazen. You know, what's been your experience with that?
Endless joy and satisfaction has been my experience with it.
Today you've done 3 rounds of Zazen already.
Yeah.
So that's a minimum of hour and a half, right?
I don't know. The first one was... Second one got interrupted. First one was like 40 minutes or something. I can't remember. And then we ate inside. Often you eat in the hall, but we didn't do that today. We went to the common area. And so while Tech Kai was making the gruel, I rang the big bell. I'm sure you'll have footage of that as well.
Boom. 7 times.
7
right?
times, 30-second gaps in between.
So I don't know
Immensely
the
satisfying
rules about
I
the
don't
bell.
know at all either.
But
I know with all the Shingon temples, at least, you ring the bell when you arrive, but you were telling me that Zen ones you're not allowed to, right?
So I've heard that at Zen temples, you do not announce your presence with the ringing of the bell.
Okay.
But, you know, right as soon as I walked through that gate, I went and rang the bell, and everybody gave me the X arms, the famous Japan dame.
Nice. You're always swimming in sacred shrines.
I know.
Defiling sacred objects.
The old gaijin smash, we call it. You know, go in and do something super foreign and
I did something the other week. I can't remember what it was. One of the many
Super foreign.
Pas. Yeah.
Here at the temple or around town?
I don't think so. I can't remember. It was probably hilarious for someone watching. Terribly embarrassing for me and my associates.
So tell me a little bit about your, experience before coming here on this. This is, multiple trips to Japan in the past. This is your most recent trip, of course. So tell me about your previous experience with Japan.
First time we got out of school. You know what schoolies is?
No. So we've got a new Australian term, schoolies.
Yeah.
Is that final exams?
Yeah, it's after final exams, or is it before? Anyway, you finish year 12 and you go get wasted on the Gold Coast or some coastal town. Everyone tries to make out with hot chicks. Everyone tries to get, I don't know if they still do it this way. That's how it was when we finished school. All our friends went to the Gold Coast, and me and my buddy Dan, God bless you, Dan.
God
Love
bless
you,
you, Dan.
Dan.
See ya on Down Under next time.
Yeah. We went to Japan instead. So we saved all our money and didn't go to schoolies. And then we went just after we waited a few months and then went to Nippon. Stayed with our friend from high school. He was an exchange student. Dan was friends with him, so we stayed with them. And then we went everywhere. And it just so happened to be Hanami. It was so fortuitous. Everything went so well. Just luckily, we fluked it. Do you know the word fluke?
Fluke is like a just bad, weird chance, right?
Yeah, good chance.
Good chance, yeah.
Serendipitous. Everything went so well. Yeah, Hanami, we accidentally came during Hanami time, which was the best. So we went to Tokyo, Nagoya,
So that would have been fall for you down in Melbourne then.
That would have been end of summer. Yeah, start of autumn. I guess, yeah.
So hopped on a plane, came to Nippon. You had a little bit of Japanese background at that point.
Yeah, in your hiragana.
Hiragana? Okay, so you could read, I can't even read ramen signs without katakana, though.
I quickly learnt that one though.
Yeah.
That was one of the first. I distinctly remember being in Shiga and Dan saying, "That's a ramen shop." And I went, alright, I gotta remember those symbols. And I did, quickly.
So
We had our first tonkotsu ramen. Changed our lives.
Oishi Shokudo.
Yeah.
All of Japan has, incredible food. Here in Tokushima, they're well known for the sudachi, and Kagawa, just north of here, is known for their great udon. And where Shiga, where you were, is known for its... Oh, it's not the ramen you just mentioned. Okay.
They put tanuki statues at the front of their houses.
I thought you were going to say they put tanuki in the ramen.
Yeah.
I don't know if they eat tanuki. Somebody's eaten a tanuki before.
Someone has, definitely. Raw, screaming, in pain, I'm sure.
The natural progression of things when you find something to eat,
Try it raw.
Try it raw.
Yeah.
the famous horse meat
And in
sashimi
pain.
and
That's actually really yum.
bahashi.
I don't think I could eat it now.
It sounds a bit unsettling to me, but just 45 minutes south of here, you can get whale. That's pretty fresh as well. Muroto is a known whaling port. So those poor cetaceans, getting ripped out of the ocean and sashimi'd.
Cetaceans.
Cetipod? Cetaceans. I think cetacean is the correct
I
term
thought it
for
was
whale.
the breed of the whale.
Could be.
Cephalopod? No, that's a crustacean-like thing.
Right. Cetaceans,
I don't
maybe the family or order of, part of the scientific name.
Look
Cetacean
it up
would be
before you edit this video.
Apologize to the scientific community.
Ambergris.
So I have not eaten whale yet. I may have eaten dog in Southeast Asia. I'm unsure about some of the foods I ate. Have not eaten the raw horse meat. I have eaten kangaroo and emu and rattlesnake and pheasant and all sorts of more rare foods. Alligator as well, I've eaten that.
What was the best weird one?
Oh, I liked the emu, I think. The Australian pizza we got in Sydney in the rocks. Had kangaroo on one half and then emu on the other half, which is
So silly.
Australian. And I don't know which half it was, but it had by far the better meat, and it was absolutely delicious. Really tasty. So I lived in Australia for close to a year, and
You
made
went
it
to a
down
really obscure place right near my hometown.
yeah,
too.
the powerhouse of Geelong
Yeah.
was actually closed down, and we snuck in there through
Oh,
a hole in the
really?
fence. You said
didn't
you
know that.
knew about it, right? But it was actually closed, and so we've got all the footage. I haven't uploaded that yet because I was waiting until I left Australia
Put a
before.
little box in the corner of that footage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there. Okay,
Nice.
it'll be right there. I don't know how to do that, so that's
You figure it out.
yeah.
It's but a tutorial away.
So I recommend Hikosen Cafe. That
That place is great.
Matt still has yet to try the morning set.
Yeah, the fabled morning set.
Fabled
Her
morning set.
daughter, incidentally, is stuck in Melbourne right now.
Right.
Yeah. Can't
Machan
come home.
no musume wa itsumo ie no naka dake
Mm.
desu. She's just
Still
stuck.
here and they're not going to. That's crazy that they don't even let their own citizens come home.
Right.
How mean is that?
Absolutely blocked US, Canada, and Australia from coming in.
Blocked, yeah.
Right. I think I can get back to the US, but I don't think they're allowed to come in at all, even with a 2-week quarantine.
It's so mean.
Yeah. It's
I
a bit
mean, it's-
unsettling, the
it's-
state of the world.
Yeah, fucking hell. And it keeps changing. Right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm going home safely. But, yeah, it can change so easily. But there's heaps of flights for when my flight is. There's heaps of flights from all airports. It seems like every time I check, something's changed for the worse.
And what's your strategy for getting home as of today? April 19th
I'm gonna
at about
hide
3:50
in-
p.m.
Nah. What is it now?
I'm not sure what time it is, but that's
I mean, what date is it?
Yes, the 19th of April.
Yeah, that makes
It's all.
sense.
It's Sunday, right?
Yes.
Because that's when they do the group Zazen.
Yeah.
Sunday at 1:30 here at Jumanji, group
Yeah.
Zazen.
The days don't mean a whole lot, though. To me at the moment, I mean.
But you're expecting to leave sometime in May.
No. I've given up on that
Oh.
because the flights were dubious. The wording was too dubious for me. And it was because I thought that Jetstar weren't flying.
Mm.
But upon checking again recently, they are flying regularly for regular prices.
Mm.
So instead of making you pay $4,000, which they were the only flights home at that stage were.
It's a one-way flight for $4,000.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
3,300 might have been the cheapest,
Mm.
but when I checked for those flights directly on their website, they weren't there. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, you've got a beautiful place to stay, and
Yes,
visa extended by 3 months, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't think you'll get the Juman yen that all the residents in Japan. They announced that any resident will get $1,000 stimulus, so we have to
Really?
apply for that. It'll come in the mail. We have to sign it, apply, hanko, put in your My Number card and all that, and then you get Juman yen, 100,000 yen, which is about
That's
$950.
incredible.
I get one from the U.S. as well, $1,200.
What?
Double dipping.
Crazy, man.
And I don't pay taxes because of the 2-year tax treaty.
Blimey.
It's actually really feels sort of shady.
You're a scumbag.
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
it's
Certainly.
as in the famous words of Donald Trump, God bless his retarded. All of his, God bless. Which
God
in
bless America. God bless America indeed. Can't believe we haven't said that yet. What is a podcast without
shout out to the world empire, America.
Yeah. evil, dirty empire? Read Howard Zinn, everybody. Read Howard Zinn.
I'm not on a list.
There's yeah, yeah, totally.
If I wasn't already.
lists.
Two
Double
lists.
dipping on the lists as well.
Oh my, they're gonna find out and tax me somehow.
Shit, yeah.
But-
What was I gonna say?
The Juman yen or the taxes. Oh, Donald Trump, that makes me smart, is what he said when people, when he figured out how to bankrupt all his companies to give himself, billions of dollars. He said, that makes
Yeah.
me smart.
God
So,
damn it.
in the famous words of Donald Trump, that makes me smart. Which, if I utilize these, they're not loopholes. It's just the law the way it is. So
Yeah.
that doesn't make me smart. It's just sort of the way it is.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Australia's version of that. By the way, please edit this to make less dead air and stuff. I feel like I've been forgetting what I was going to say.
No. You've been the worst part is the
Oh, the picking. I'm doing it.
the picking right in front, picking the branches right in front of and shuffling your feet right in front of the recorder as well. But it's all good. Don't worry. We've lost our GoPro footage. It's no longer going.
That means it died.
Yeah, that's okay. We've got plenty of other stuff.
So
What's Australia's version of the stimulus package or some aid?
I think it's if you had a job up until March and you lost that job because of Corona, then you get up to $750 a week, or something like that. Can't remember. And they've just maybe doubled the New Start allowance, which is the dole or the, what do you call it? The welfare or whatever. Yeah, they just doubled it.
Okay.
Apparently, or doubled it, or at least gave it a massive boost.
So you've got unemployment you apply for, and then now you're getting monthly check, and that's been doubled.
I think so.
Okay.
Bi-weekly. 250 it was, or something, and now it's 500. I might be completely mistaken. So if you want to have true journalistic integrity, please look that up before we broadcast this to your family.
Only the most integral of integrity here in this James Japan podcast. Japan James. I can't even get the name right.
It's Corona.
You said it before I did. Oh, man.
It must suck to just have like a normal cold at this time.
Yeah.
You're going to get so many sideways stares.
Let's talk a little bit about the situation in Japan. So I'm currently ALT, assistant language teacher here in Japan, working at Kaifu High School, which just last week announced that the teachers all should probably be wearing masks when they're inside. And they said it's mendokusai, but please wear your mask. But as of Friday, I saw still, 10 out of 40 teachers still not wearing masks. So I've been, far away from them, feeling really foreign, not taking part in anything they've been doing for the last month now. Still getting paid.
You're not going to get your contract renewed.
I'm already here for another 16 months.
Nice.
So,
16 months of holiday.
If the corona situation continues, it might be, endless holiday, But, the surfing here has been great. The Tokushima Surfing Association announced that outside surfers can't come in, so the surf breaks have been really uncrowded. And in Australia, they've been arresting people for surfing. So such a stark contrast. US and Australia and all the other great places to surf in the world, you're not allowed to surf right now.
Ugh, that must be itching.
But in Japan, we're still we were sort of acting normal until Friday, which we've just announced a state of emergency for the entire nation. It was previously just 7 prefectures.
Yeah. They're not, apparently not putting in any rules in place though, right? They're just telling everyone to do social distancing.
Supposedly in Japan, suggesting something works a lot better than in the rest of the developed world.
Very much so, yeah. They take their responsibilities seriously here, whereas in Australia, people don't give a fuck.
America as well. There's a stark divide, It's probably, a large majority of the Trump voters, the people that like Trump that would,
Yeah,
in
there's
this
been
case,
stuff going on, like stick it to the libtards by going outside and shit like that. Great idea, guys.
So Facebook is an explosive nightmare with these groups of people just bashing on the people that are going outside even,
Yeah, civil libertarians being like, oi, open up California, or whatever. There's something moving around here in the bushes.
So New York has been in a total state of lockdown. I know the last number I checked was 70,000 nin ga corona positive. So about 700,000, which in just a 2 month period is insane.
That's so crazy.
And
my hometown has had, I think, 70 something, and none of them have gone into ICU.
Ooh. And
a bunch of them were from like a cruise ship. There's apparently this, it's called a Ruby
Sapphire Pokemon shout out.
Ruby something or other. And it's a criminal investigation now apparently, because of they let everyone out and told them to self-isolate, and they didn't, and then heaps of cases spawned from that, apparently.
There's also people going out and intentionally just coughing on things. There's videos of people doing that in America, people getting arrested for
There would be those loonies. I've actually thought about that, of like some super nihilistic lunatic just going, yeah, fuck the world, baby. I'm the Joker, baby. And just coughing on Cheetos and Doritos. Or, yeah, whatever.
Here in Japan, I'm worried because I think if a coworker were to get sick, in general, they don't miss work. You just don't miss work in Japan. So if they were to get sick, one, they would probably want to hide it for as long as possible.
Oh god.
And, you know, some people in Japan wear a mask 100% of the time, you know,
Yeah.
year round.
They love it.
Some, they love it, you know, whether it's to hide their ugly face, sometimes that's
Could
what I
be.
hear.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they don't want to get sick. Sometimes they just don't want to spread sickness. They could think it's pollution. There's lots of reasons. But now, you know, there's a pretty large majority of people that's wearing masks full time. But still, the people that are not wearing masks, you know, they'll be the people to spread it if they don't get it. You know, the people that will never wear a mask no matter what. So that's what's got me worried going into work all the time. You know, it's secret. It could happen anytime. You know, we're having this conversation less than 2 meters apart, so you were in contact
you're a
with
dirty ALT as
I'm
well.
a very dirty ALT,
You're
very
like
unkempt.
the highest percentage person in this whole country, mate.
Supposedly beards can hold the disease as well
yuck.
for quite a while.
Ugh.
And it's only been washed with salt water in the last week.
Oh man.
And fresh water too, but
What are you doing, mate? Why did you come here today?
I know. But you were just in contact with Takeshi yesterday, who was in Okinawa. So
Yeah.
has been at the airport yesterday. So, you know, it's closer to home than you could imagine. And,
Oh god.
you know, normally you would never think about situations like, oh, he was at the airport or something like that. That's just
I
day-to-day
know,
life.
It's
But
so crazy.
and even Koya-san's going to Tochigi
Yeah.
Prefecture,
Hope he's alright.
which probably not the best idea, but duty calls, you know. You have to. I talked a little bit about the work-life balance with one of my JTEs that I'm friends with. We were, you know, we were distanced and both wearing masks, but you know, she values her job and her duty more than, you know, personal safety, and that's just the way it is, you know.
It's a hard decision to make, particularly for Japanese people. Because, you know, duty calls, they're going to do their duty. They care about their job so much, so often. It's not like dirty Australians who don't give a shit about anything at all.
Let's talk a little bit about dirty Australians. Speaking of, we've talked enough about coronavirus. We can go on and on about that and the world situation and politics. I want to know about your life in Australia. You know, you've got a dual life. You're a secret double agent, you know.
I'd be a good spy. I
Japanese. Have you read my spy book about
No, I
the...
haven't. Tech Guy gave me a book on Zen and I've been reading that flat out.
These are
the best.
both asleep. They're just flopping.
Giant grotty feet.
These are thin lines. Surfboard has cut my feet a little bit.
Oh, no.
So, and the massive scar leg, I call it. And used to have a big motorcycle burn right there. And
Nice.
but yeah, what's life for you back in Australia? Who did you live with? You know,
Lived with my parents, my brother. When I was planning on, when I went back, I was going to move in with two of my buddies, hopefully. But, you know, Corona happened.
right?
So every plan that everyone had in the whole wide world has been quashed.
My plans, you know, same old, same old.
Same
You
for
know,
you,
if you're
pretty
in
much,
Japan
yeah.
for the last, you know, 3 months, everything has been generally normal, especially in the inaka, the rural areas. So since I am a resident here, you know, I've, you know, experienced the tranquility of the current situation, which is getting worse day by day. So you were going to move in with your buddies, and that's no longer happening because you're indefinitely a resident in Japan for now.
For now, yeah. I've got my ticket home. I don't know whether I'm going to hide. I'm definitely going to hide in Shikoku until just before I go home. But I've got all these friends saying, "Hey Matt, can't wait to hang out in Gogatsu or whatever."
Yeah.
What's that? March, May, and then but yeah, I'm thinking about just going straight from the countryside to the airport and going home. instead of going to Osaka and then going to Tokyo. There's a lot of space in between, a lot of opportunities to get coughed on. I'm definitely going to go to a bookshop. If you like books, go to a secondhand bookshop.
Like Book Off.
Yeah,
Huh.
they are a giant giant building full of books beyond your wildest dreams.
A large majority.
And I can dream quite a lot about books.
Have you read any real Japanese books, or mostly graphic novels, or?
I've got one today. I don't really read it. It's art book, picture of artworks by a guy called Hiroshi Yoshida. He's a guy that makes woodblock prints, but he also studied overseas, so he picked up a lot of Western sensibilities as far as perspective and stuff goes. So it's one of my favorite kind of art forms. It's like a woodblock print with more sort of realistic elements to it. So I got that today. It just arrived today with the palette. I ordered palette to do paintings.
So you've got new paints.
Yeah, boy.
And you're an artist. Let me shout out your Instagram. Let's.
I'll send it to you, I guess.
Okay.
At Matt Wright Art, and one is at Mr. Wright. No. At Mr. Wright Art, and the other one is at Art Matt Wright.
So you'll see that in the video above our heads right now. That'll be
yeah.
at Mr. Matt.
There's
Wright.
another guy called Matt Wright who's an artist.
I'm sure there's a few thousand. Maybe
Yeah, there's
100,000.
another guy in England too.
Artist Matt Wright.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then, there's one guy. He's from Perth. He's an artist. He's a good artist. So I should probably call myself Matthew Wright, but I think there's also Matthew Wrights. Maybe he's Matthew Wright even. I can't remember.
And you do
Because-
commissioned arts?
Yeah.
And freestyle, and what's your style? Tell me a little bit about, your art world.
I like whimsy. I do a lot of drawings of a township that is inhabited by wizards, or at least designed by wizards, so it's little floating islands. That's something that I'm obsessed with at the moment. I like oil paintings as well. I do a lot of oil paintings of scenery and people. I try to make it so it's not exactly a landscape and not exactly a portrait, so it's like some mid-ground in between. And I like to mix cultures, so you can't tell exactly what culture you're looking at, to give people from a wider range of cultures to try to figure out what culture they're looking at, I guess.
I like
Again,
that
in
global
between
perspective
cultures.
instead of...
Well, yeah, it's kind of like dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I like to think like, maybe if we start thinking like there's no boundaries, then the boundaries will just dissolve and we'll be just earthlings instead of Australians.
That's a really great dream, especially now, because the boundaries have never been more defined than they are right at this moment in the world.
People are angry about everything. So yeah,
And
something that I dream of is thinking of ourselves as earthlings. When space travel is really common, people start thinking of it, and obviously when Martians and stuff start being born, people think about that a lot more. People think like that a lot more, I think.
And according to Elon Musk, we should have Martians being born in the next... If we send them there by 2022, I think is what his plan was.
Rad.
We should have Martians being born by 2023.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No.
Sick.
And you've done some commissioned work as well. How do you get contracted for that? How does that process work for you?
It's always just people that I know,
Mm.
and then people that they know.
So let me get famous
Uh-huh.
off this podcast, and then in turn, since you're my first ever guest on the show, you will, be overloaded with requests.
Oh, yeah,
You will never have a peaceful moment
Uh-huh.
because you'll be so rolling in the money with all the commissioned artworks and
Rolling
you'll
in art, money, women, and Zen. And we literally slathered in it. All those things.
That's the dream.
Thanks to you, James. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. That's a note from my future self. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate all the money and chicks and everything.
Living the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
The end. That was the end of the podcast. Sorry, man.
And with that note,
absolutely. Ping.
終わりますね。終わります. Let's
How
finish,
do you sign off?
finish our official podcast. That was
That was a really good ending, though. Living the dream. Absolutely. Or something like that. Yeah. Go
so.
on.
I'll make a bunch of different versions. That'll be the end of one theoretical version, and then another end will be right now. That'll be another end, and then another end will be.
Can I make it? And now? And now.
And now.
And now. Sure.
But yeah, it's the new experience of I've been into video editing for years, so it's just a progression. Sometimes it's gone up. It's like a bell curve. Right now it's at the really bad point. Hikos and they let me use their computer to edit, so I pumped out a bunch of videos today.
Sweet.
Check them
What
out
program
on
do you use?
what editor?
Yeah.
It's in katakana. It says video editor. So it's just Windows video editor.
Yeah.
Windows Movie Maker is no more. YouTube Studio has gone through big changes. GoPro used to have a studio app where you could edit stuff, and they've taken it off because I think Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas, the editing apps, have paid Google and GoPro to take off their
Scumbags.
so that you have to pay for somebody's nice editor.
Scumbags.
So YouTube used to have a great video editing studio.
Yeah.
No longer.
That's so lame. Why must we all be so unkind? Do you know Kamal?
I don't know, Kamal. Is that philosophy or anime?
Yeah, it's philosophy, definitely. Yeah, he's like a Sri Lankan Australian crooner.
What's a kruna?
You gotta look him up.
How do I spell that?
CROONER. Like Frank Sinatra. Guys like that. I think he would be classified as a crooner.
With the type of voice?
Yeah, like someone that sings, I don't even know what, yeah.
What does Frank Sinatra sing? It's like, what a wonderful world.
Yeah, no.
No, it's not him.
You don't know who Frank Sinatra is? He sings.
What's he sing? I forget what he sings.
Heaps of stuff. My way.
I'm gonna do it my way.
He sings South of the Border.
So he's a crooner, Sri Lankan, Australia, south of the border.
Down Mexico way. That's Frank Sinatra. I don't know what Kamal sings. He releases like Christmas albums and stuff. And he's on an episode or two of Pizza. Pizza? If you want to understand Australian culture, watch Fat Pizza. There's some lost episodes. I think a lot of them are on YouTube. But that's quintessential Australian culture.
Live action?
In a sense. Yeah, live action. Comedy. Really budget comedy from SBS. SBS is a fantastic channel in Australia. Definitely watch that. if you've lived in Australia, you might get a bunch of it. You might not get some of it. But again, there's people like Kamal in it, so if you know the references, it's going to enrich it a lot. But even if you don't, it's pretty hilarious. It's ridiculous.
Sweet as.
The first 2 seasons are really good. Third one's borderline, and everything after that is rubbish. But fuck, the first 2 series are so funny. It's a terrible show, by the way. It's ridiculous, but it's hilarious. One of my friends says that a few things should be on the Australian citizenship test, and one of them is questions about fat pizza, questions about Farscape. Do you know the show Farscape?
No.
It's a space opera or sci-fi or something.
Set in the
It's
outback.
really good. Sometimes, man.
Oh.
It's really good. And I can't remember the other thing. Probably something about Kamal, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, check it out. Check out Fat Pizza. That goes for you all too.
Everybody listening, please check out Fat Pizza, Kamal,
Kamal, yeah.
Men at Work,
Nah.
Big Les Show.
Yeah. I haven't watched much of that. It is good. Yeah, watch the Big Blue Show.
Get your Australianness in. Watch
What else?
Crocodile
The Castle?
Hunter.
Seen The Castle?
I have not seen The Castle.
It's much lauded as the most Aussie thing ever. What else? Let's spruik some Australiana, shall we? Fat Pizza, Farscape. Farscape's not really Australian, but it's largely Australian. You're gonna edit these bits out, or just let the waterfall go? We've already finished as well.
Yeah, we've already finished. This is just extra bonus.
Bonus material. What else is there?
It's beautiful though.
Yeah, isn't it?
Silence. So we are tucked
Better come
in
out
this,
here and meditate out here, actually.
on the very edge of this rock garden behind Jirakaji's temple number 7. I was just making a video about Jirakaji earlier today, which is why. Jomanji rock garden, beautifully laid rock garden. We got some history about this earlier from Aki-chan. So this rock garden was made by somebody's brother. Do you remember the name? Really?
No.
No. We'll get that information. You'll see it above our heads here in the middle between us. You'll get a picture of him.
There's no video, remember?
And I'll just replay some footage. I'll just put it on a loop. It looks the same anyway,
Sure.
So we're tucked in. There's a beautiful waterfall coming straight from this mountain valley, straight from the tops of these really high mountains. And, we've got beautiful lily pads. We've got this, little pond here. And, it's just zen, Like you said, this is a perfect place to meditate.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
But so typical Buddhist life, really strict Buddhist would be fully vegan, right? And
Vegetarian,
okay.
maybe? I don't know.
And they wake up at 5 in the morning and would do their morning meditation.
Different everywhere. Here it's 5:20.
Do you eat first or do your meditation first?
Meditate first and then eat with your Zen consciousness flowing.
Which is really interesting. I don't often eat meditatively, which is really...
Me either. Me neither. It's something that I've been meaning to do as well.
It's weird to do it. I've done it a few times, but I go right back to ferociously.
Yeah, if there's food there, I'm gonna eat it as fast as I can.
And we had okonomiyaki, which is they call it a Japanese style pancake, which is absolutely not a pancake. If you're from America, you know exactly what a pancake is. There's nothing like a pancake. It might look like a pancake, but we had so much food, and it was actually the Momoya? What did we eat? I think it was
Momoya,
Momoya.
karage set.
Yeah, karage setto. You're like, I apologize. I eat so
best.
fast. Like a full 5 minutes before I was finished. But I like to really enjoy my food, and I eat really weird and eat ice cream really weird too. But sometimes I'll do it fast, sometimes slow. But you're all about the speed. And
I
getting it in there.
don't mean to do it. I don't mean to do it at all. I've been reprimanded by many relatives. Well, namely my grandma and my mum, for eating too fast.
It's dangerous too.
Is it?
Yeah,
Why?
to
What
eat
can
too
happen?
fast. I think your stomach can develop ulcers, and you can also it can go down the wrong tube.
Right.
You can tear your esophagus maybe, or
Apparently the enzymes in your saliva don't get in your food as well, so
Exactly.
it doesn't digest as well.
Gotta masticate.
And then the whole, like you say, your stomach, if there's no enzymes in it, your stomach's like, what the fuck's going on, man? Get this thing out of here.
especially if you're older Japanese. There's two foods that are really extremely dangerous. Do you know what those are?
Yeah, mochi and fugu.
Fugu is always dangerous for everybody, not just the older people. Mochi and devil's tongue. Do you know what the Japanese word for that?
Nah, what
Okay,
is it?
konnyaku.
Ah, okay.
These super chewy, really
Is
dense
it
foods.
choking as well?
The choking risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Japanese older people. I don't know if they feed it to babies too,
Okay.
probably, but
Koya-san actually said how many people died last year from
mochi.
mochi.
Yeah.
It's heaps.
And they make it here at the temple with the big hammer.
on New Year's. I'd love to do that.
Uh,
New Year's,
so-
maybe? Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
It's a large number of
Yeah.
people that die from mochi every
Yeah,
year.
it's crazy.
They would actually eat whale here because they thought the whales were the reincarnated people that used to do wrong. So
Wow.
it was okay to eat whales as a Buddhist. So I don't know.
Indonesians apparently believe that dogs are robbers from their past life, or thieves or something. Maybe not all of Indonesia. Which is pretty funny. Dogs are nice as. As if you label them as thieves and criminals. Oh, dead air.
No, it's not dead though. It's just the mountain. We've got just the slightest little breeze coming through the valley there. You know how to take a mental snapshot. Let's take a mental snapshot. So, get really quiet. Take a deep breath. And this ties into a little bit of what we do in Zazen, so just focus. What do you see? Deep breaths in. What do you hear? What do you smell? What are you feeling right now? You feel the slight breeze on your skin, feeling the weight of your clothes, the hardness of the rock. Take a deep breath in. On your outhale, exhale. Take a mental click and take a picture with your mind. Now we have mental snapshot.
I could do that more often.
I learned that in Costa Rica from a really spiritual American. We were sitting at a waterfall on the beach, actually.
Did it work?
It worked. I'll remember that moment for the rest of my life. She
Nice.
led us through that exact process. I think she added taste in as well. I've also done it on top of active volcano in Nicaragua. My buddy that was
It
with
smell like sulfur.
smelled
poo?
like sulfur. You
Nice.
know, you could feel the heat coming off the volcano. You could hear, you know, the deep rumbling down there because the magma, or I think it's lava at that point, is boiling and popping. And, you know, you can't beat the sounds we're having here right now, you know, the waterfall and a little bit of bird chirping, not too much. Really good white noise. But, you know, on that note, let's finish our podcast.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It wasn't recording
At all.
at all.
That whole thing wasn't recording.
I didn't trick you, did I? No.
Scumbag.
It's been such a
How
great
long was
experience. 61.
Okay. Square hour.
I think that's just the number of takes we've had on this device, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm not actually sure, but we've got 17 hours and 57 minutes left of remaining. But that was really great. You know, thanks for joining me. This is Matt Wright. He's beautiful Australian artist, Henro Pilgrim, tucked in the lovely mountains of Jomanji Temple. Mm-hmm. And with that, we leave you. Namaste.
Shalom.